What is up, guys? My name is Dre and welcome to another Honkai starter video on my channel. So today we're talking about the two new upcoming and summonable characters for patch 1.1, which are Silver Wolf and Luocha. The patch will be available in a couple of days. But before we hop into the topic of today's video, I just want to point you guys again to my YouTube short section, which is currently the content that I'm mainly focusing on, and I would appreciate any support on that. Of course, also if you enjoy the content on the channel, I would highly appreciate if you subscribe to it. It would help me out a lot. So with that out of the way, let's get back into the topic. In today's video, I don't want to do a who you should summon for sort of thing. And also, I only want to work with official information. So this is the official HoYoverse site that provides us the combat roles for the characters, where they only talk about what the character is able to do. We're not talking about any numbers or percentages in this video because they're not official. They can be changed until the character releases. So yeah, I just want to talk about like my thought process about the character. So basically, we're just looking at the both characters, and then I want to talk about which character I want to decide, or I decided to summon for, or I'm planning to summon for, if there are no changes until the release. But generally, I would really recommend you guys to summon for characters that you like. It seems kind of obvious though, but for myself, I enjoy summoning for characters that I like more than for characters that are meta. A very good example on that is basically in Genshin Impact. My favorite character is Jean, and she is not meta at all, and I still use her for like every possible content. Of course, if the content gets kind of hard and you need to use specific characters, then I still do that. So if the character is like too meta, I'm still willing to summon for that. But generally, I really value liking a character more than a character that is meta, even though I'm still a meta enjoyer. So I don't want to deny that. So play the game as you enjoy the game is basically the quote that we're talking about here. So yeah, now let's get into the characters. Starting with Silver Wolf. So this is basically her character story. We're not talking about this in this video. We're talking about her combat role. So let's go over this quickly. She's a quantum type character from the Nihility path, and her special ability is basically that she can inflict weaknesses on enemies. And this will be like random. So the weakness type will be the same as at least one of the abilities in combat. So basically she will put a weakness out of your team on one of the enemies. So for example, if you have a quantum character, a fire and ice, and a wind character, she will put one of those weaknesses to the enemy. But I don't think if the enemy already has a weakness that she will be able to put it on. So if the enemy already has a fire or a wind weakness, you only will be able to have a quantum and an ice weakness. So she will be only available to apply one of those two, so it is a 50% chance. But if the enemy doesn't have one of either of the weaknesses of your team, then it will always be a 25% chance to inflict the weakness. So that is basically what I am knowing from just reading her combat role. Additionally to that, she can reduce the defense of a single enemy target and deal damage to them with her ultimate skill. And whenever she attacks, she can implement a random bug on the enemy target, which reduces the target's attack, defense, or speed. So it means only one of those three stats will be reduced. Before we talk into that, let's move on to Luocha. So yeah, Luocha is an imaginary type character from the Abundance path, and his skill can restore a large amount of HP to a designated ally. Basically, it doesn't heal, and when any ally's HP falls to 50% or less, he will immediately trigger and heal the character that is under that the HP is under 50%. Unleashing his skill or ultimate attack will accumulate stacks of Abyss Flowers. So this is one of his special mechanics, that he has the Abyss Flower mechanic. And when the Abyss Flower reaches 2 stacks, Luocha can consume all the Abyss Flowers to deploy a field against the enemy. And when any enemy in the field is attacked by an ally, the attacking ally immediately restores a certain amount of HP. yeah, this is basically his kit. Just to summarize, he has a heal with his skill. He heals back your characters if they fall below 50%. He can stack the abyss flowers, and if he has 2 stacks, he has a field where he can continuously heal your characters. Now, the difference between those characters is that, of course, they have different usages. Let's start with Silverwolf. I really do think that Silverwolf is an insane character, but my problem with her is basically her RNG. Now, which weakness is applied to the enemy is a super strong ability. I think this is one of the best abilities that you can have in the game, but it is RNG, and that is the thing that I don't like. Which I don't want to deny that her skill is bad or something, because she still can debuff the enemy, which is also really good. But for Luocha, he's like a very consistent character, so he has multiple layers to heal your team. So you don't really need to use his skill, which basically means that he can heal efficiently without using skill points, and that is a very high valuable thing for me. Even though if I would have Bailu, which I don't have, so Luocha is even more valuable for me. So most free-to-play players or low spenders, if you didn't pull Bailu, you only have one healer, which is Natasha. This is one argument for me to summoning more for Luocha. Even though I like Silverwolf slightly more as a character, but I don't dislike Luocha, which is a also very important thing that I want to notice here. And the weakness type of Silverwolf is the thing that makes me summon for this character, though. I don't think that reducing the defense from the enemy or any of the sets of the enemy makes me want to summon for the character, because this is not the unique thing on her. I also do think that if you use a Harmony character like Bronya, which I do have, or if Tingyun, or maybe Yukon, which we don't want to talk about in this video, you have the ability to buff your character, or also you have other debuffers in the game. Of course, there's non-debuffer that is as efficient with those stats like Silverwolf right now. But the selling point for this character for me is that she can change the weakness type, which is so good because you literally can make any team work. That is a big strength. You can make any team work because any weakness of your team can be applied to your opponent, so you don't have to ascend or upgrade a specific character just for a specific content. Because you have Silverwolf, you can always use like the characters that you already built, because building characters in this game is very expensive. But now the downside on this is, as I already said, it is RNG based. So if you have 4 different elements, attributes in your team, it will be like a 25% chance. So for me right now, I don't use multiple types a lot in a team. Now, let's say if you have Sealy, which I don't have, you have at least a 50% chance, which I can argue that it is kind of worth to get Silverwolf if you have Sealy in your team, because then you have an at least 50% chance to apply the right weakness on her if the enemy doesn't have a quantum weakness. So yeah, I really do think that the value is hitting a lot more if you use Silverwolf along with Sealy, because then it is a 50% chance, which is basically just a coin flip. But if you don't use Sealy, if you, for example, use Jinyon because you didn't pull for Sealy, you skipped for Jinyon, then you have 2 different types on your team, which is Electro, and then you have Quantum, which requires you to have maybe another Electro character, which sets the, maybe Tingyun for this, because Tingyun is an Electro Harmony character. Yeah, then you have a last slot, which has to be a healer. You don't have any tank, you don't have any preservation character in your team, so you have to basically use your healer, which probably should be Natasha, because she's the only free-to-play. So your team consists of 1 Quantum, 2 Electro characters that are set, and 1 healer. So basically, if you want to use her again along with Jinyon, your team's already set. You don't really have the flexibility to change between the units, though. This is also another problem. So basically, what I want to say here is I would go for Silverwolf if I would have Sealy. Honestly, though. Because I really think that the value of Silverwolf will be way higher as we're moving forward into the game, because the current problem that I have with Silverwolf is that there are not too many different types of attributes in the game, because there are not too many different characters already in the game, which makes me want to skip the character though. Even though I do think that this character is insanely good moving forward into the game. It doesn't matter how her scalings or how her percentages are. This unique mechanic that she can apply weakness types to your enemies that are currently not applied on them is such a strong ability. But yeah, just because of the fact that there are not too many units and you have to have the right units right now to make the full use out of Silverwolf. Yeah, for example, I would say that she's the most valuable if you can use her in a mono team. Especially quantum teams will be the best, because Silverwolf is quantum herself. If you use her with Sealy, QQ, which is Quingche, or I don't know how to pronounce her name, but yeah, I think if you use her with Quingche and Sealy and Silverwolf, then there is a fourth quantum character missing, so you will never be able to have a 100% chance to apply the weakness type, because there are no 4 quantum characters right now into the game. Yeah, you can always only do 75%. You can do it for Electro already, but the problem that we actually have is that we need a resonance or a path from every element. So basically we need a Nihility quantum character, we need an Abundance quantum character, we need an Hunter quantum character, we need a Destruction. So you will have the flexibility to swap between the characters. So that would make Silverwolf the most valuable character in the game as soon as that is given. Now back to Luocha, because I talked a lot about Silverwolf right now. Basically Luocha will be the character that I go for. I do think that I will try to pull Luocha, at least for now. The valuable things on Luocha is he is skill point efficient, which is a thing that I really value. I also kind of like his character design. I like it as much as I do it for Jingyon. I kind of like the design from Silverwolf a little bit more, but it is not that big of a difference that I would go for Silverwolf, because Luocha gives my character box more value. That is, at least for me, deciding for my character box. Yeah, as I already mentioned multiple times, I value the most that he is very skill point efficient, which is a really good point in a team. You can heal basically without using his skill, so maybe you don't really have to put any traces on his skill. I'm not too sure. You can just basically level his auto attack and his ultimate skill. But I have to test that. I'm not pretty sure. Also, what they're not mentioning here is about his ultimate skill, right? Oh, yes, they do. Unleashing his skill, ultimate skill will accumulate stacks. No, they don't mention about his ultimate skill. Very good selling point for me on Luocha is that he's from the imaginary type character. So with Yukong, we then only have 3 imaginary type characters, which are all defensive type characters, because Welt is also a Nihility character. So as soon as we get another offensive character for imaginary, I would go for that. But I think Luocha, hopefully he does decent damage though. So that would be the point that really 100% sells me. If Luocha is able to do decent damage while be able to healing without using skill points, being skill point efficient, but doing damage at the same time, being from the imaginary type, this is a character with triple value for me. And if he doesn't do that much damage, then being from imaginary type and healing without skill points is still double value, in my opinion. Also having the second healer, because I'm free to play, I didn't pull Bailu. He's the second healer that helps me with clearing the chaos memory. Moving forward though, I think that the play for me is to get Luocha to clear the chaos memory more consistent, to get the stellar jades, and then using those stellar jades to summon for new characters, which probably could be Silverwolf in the future or any other new characters. Yeah, that's basically the way that I want to go. I don't want to talk about the like counts in this video because I don't think that they are important or they are all a decision point from a free-to-play standpoint. That is basically how I think about the characters. Hopefully that wasn't too much, guys. Sorry if it was. And I hope you guys still enjoy the content. As soon as the characters are live, I will probably do a summon video on Luocha. I do think that I will do. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.